With the chairman's message, let us now welcome a round of applause to Mr. Danilo Sanchez.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. Well, I really don't want to stay long in this podium because we wanted to hear the wisdom of our Honorable Secretary William Dar. Okay, so I just would like to extend our heartfelt thanks, our deepest gratitude to all of you for sparing your most precious time to be with us, especially this time of, I would say, so much, beginning from the ASF, from Taal, and this came, pinakamalaki, which is the ENCO. But siguro, I just would like to make a little meaning of ENCO, sabi nila, because it's very timely. On Friday, we will be celebrating Valentine's Day. And sabi nila, ENCO means no cash on Valentine. Okay? So, again, I would like to thank all of you, our partners, our exhibitors, the staff, the organizing committee, our panelists, our moderator, of course, and then two of our special guests. I also would like to make mention the Secretary, and then the Director of Bureau of Animal Industry, the Secretary Gason, and Secretary Director Ronnie, and then the Senate Chairman, Mr. Sendoso, and of course, our Honorable Secretary William Gar. You know, Paramount Summit, or it begins with diligence. This, it was initiated or last 2005. So it's been 15 years, and this is the first time na nagkaroon ng ganitong masyadong maraming problema. But in spite of that, I know God is with us, at hindi yan natin babayaan. Kaya I would like to end my short talk in saying that every storm came is not to really magbigay sa atin ng kapahamakan, or I would say, nakalimutan ko sa English. But tumarating po ang mga bagyo, hindi po para magbigay sa atin ng kapahamakan, kung hindi magbigay sa atin ng bagong daanan. So sa inyong lahat, maraming salamat po at magandang umaga.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, Chairman Danilo Sanchez. At this point, my good friends, we can now call on stage to give us the rationale of our plenary summit. Please welcome the President of the PVDA and the Chairman of the Technical Committee of the International Pharma Summit. A round of applause to Dr. Eugene Mendez.
Department of Agriculture Secretary, Honorable William Dar, industry leaders and movers, colleagues, distinguished guests, our farmers, ang dami-dami yung sa likod, magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. The African swine fever, with its biological, antigenic, and epidemiological properties as a virulent virus in a naive population, whether what country it is, do not discriminate. Whether you are in a highly commercialized and highly biosecure farm operations like South Korea, or you are in naturally island barriered provinces and archipelago like Indonesia, or as vulnerable a country like China and Vietnam. As expected and as tracked, as it has been in Africa and Europe, and now as it is in many parts of our regions, ASF is truly devastating. Up to now, even with early detection and removal of infected animals, outbreaks continue even amongst large farm operations, already massively damaging the economic and pork supply and killing hundreds of millions of pigs in China. In Vietnam, more than 9,000 outbreaks have been recorded and pig mortalities escalating beyond 6 million amidst a reportedly organized government-driven animal disease outbreak management system. That's in Vietnam. Philippines, our ASF woes are never exclusive and unique to us. In fact, even before the ASF virus entered the Philippine herds, we were already warned how lethal it will be to our pig population. With its historical impact in Africa and Europe, and with its profiled epidemiological run in China and Vietnam, we're already tracked to lose 80% of our backyard pigs and at least 30% of our large farm sector population. Even before its influx to the Philippines, we were already estimated to lose 7.85 million pigs. That's a loss of 62% of our pig population. The projections was shared not only by a few expert population medicine epidemiologists. After all, like this tracking by Dr. Stephen McMorris, this is what happened in China, Vietnam, and Cambodia, who all fell to the virus even before us. As early as November of 2018, more than 8 months before we first had our index case, with our pig farming composition, with our production and consumption systems, and our ways of doing things, we were already estimated to lose 1.1 million tons of dressed weight pork and will carry the burden of 0.8 million tons supply shortfall as a consequence. And with a global deficit of 16.5 billion kilograms of pork, we already projected that there is not enough pork in the world to fill the projected pork supply shortfall in China alone. With these scientific and economic warnings, we worked together as an industry to protect our borders and educate our farmers. As Philippine Veterinary Drug Association, with our almost 40 member companies, we launched national and regional education and extension drives through seminars and awareness campaigns on ASF prevention and control. I remember that from February of 2018 up to before the first case broke, we were on the road traveling with Mr. Chester Tan and the rest of the National Federation of Hog Farmer members from Quezon Province to our runs in Bulacan, with simultaneous runs hosted by their chapters in Jensan, Davao, and Pangasinan. The swine newsletter of ProPork, as requested by Mr. Edwin Chen, has then been focused on ASF education. We partnered with the Bureau of Animal Industry, the Philippine Veterinary Medical Association, the Philippine College of Swine Practitioners, and other allied partners, and we worked days and nights organizing national forums, backyard seminars, and social media campaigns. In August of 2019, the gods of history may have judged us if we have ever prepared enough. I don't think we can ever prepare enough for a virus as devastating as ASF, with still no working and effective vaccine. More than that, it exposed a lot of our farm biosecurity weaknesses in our operations, the porosity of our border control programs, and the social realities and consequences of an outbreak as massive as ASF. The latest summary from BAI so far reports that 627 barangays of the Philippines have been affected by ASF. And as of January 13, 2020, the government has depopulated a total of 178,159 pigs, of which only 29,709 have been sick. The others were just part of the control zones and were called to assure discontinuity of pig-host lateral transmission. While the government only depopulated less than 2%, we knew that there is a bigger impact of ASF on the general pig population that needed to be realistically assessed and numerically quantified to leverage its impact on future live weight prices, on pork supply, to identify breeder and production supply gaps, and to calculate the impact on the other commodities and other protein meat sources. And so the African Swine Fever Crisis Management Team technical members collaborated with representatives from the private, the government, and the LGU, and the hog producers sector from the NHFH, from the National Federation of Pork, Mr. Chester Tan helped us. From the PVMA, Dr. Rosel Falconete Cudal. From PCSP, we had Dr. Angel Manaban. From the private sector, we had Dr. Josep Arca. I represented the PVDA, and of course, we've been greatly helped by our BAI Director, Dr. Ronnie Domingo, and our NMIS Executive Director, Dr. Wilfred Morales. The goal was to project the impact of ASF and come up with a common and a shared number of how many pigs have been depopulated, not only because they were infected, but to include those that have voluntarily reduced or stopped breeding out of uncertainty and fear, or simply those who decided to stop operating until the virus lies down or the vaccine comes out before they repopulate. And so with the farmers, producers, LGU information, and with the industry assessment as sources, we set calculated projections for both backyard and commercial farm depopulation per area, per province, per region. For example, in Bulacan, we were greatly helped by the Province of Bulacan and Dr. Zosimo De Leon. And for Tarlac alone, we had a great support from Chester, who ran and mapped out his colleagues' farms in Tarlac and concluded that there are already 16,000 pigs lost in Tarlac alone. We used PSA numbers as basis, and we have projected that for Luzon alone, commercial and backyard farms already depopulated a total of 2,818,000 pigs. Factoring in those who have voluntarily depopulated in Vismin, we have assessed that we now lost 4,159,000 pigs, or 32.7% of our total 2019 pig population. And following again the epidemiological tracking based on the biological, antigenic, and epidemiological realities of ASF, it can potentially lose 5,854,000 pigs, or 46% of our pig population, if ASF goes uncontrolled nationwide. Remember, this is still below the 2018 projected production loss by global population experts of 7.85 million, or 62% of supposedly to be lost swine population. The slowing down of depletion comes from Vismin being more archipelagic, benefiting from the natural barriers of heat, wind, sea, and distance from one island to another island. These are just projections to serve as our guide. This does not necessarily have to happen. We have our ground winds already, and we are set to achieve more inclusive cooperation to contain ASF only up to where they are zoned now. But we have to be prepared for its projected impact scenario on our pork supply chain and our peak price forecasts. The numbers in the past may not have been good, but where we are projecting may be more scary if we do not come out united and cooperative as one industry. For these reasons, we at the PVDA Foundation and in this plenary summit have laid down the grounds to be prepared for a recovery and repopulation. In the next 3 days, our ASF summit will reinforce border control programs as we learn from Spain and Europe through Dr. Joaquin Cifra. So our visiting regions, our North Luzon and our Southeast Luzon that have remained ASF free will hope that they need not be infected. Dr. Wayne Johnson, whose years of practice in China and saw how China farms got infected, recovered, and successfully repopulated, even without the vaccines, will teach us brilliant production systems and biosecurity measures to give us the confidence to rebuild and repopulate with all the opportunities that the market present to our favor now. And our ASF CMT technical team, headed by Dr. Rilden Morales, will lay out the foundation and guidelines of our government zoning program to contain the virus. Meanwhile, our poultry industry is also under threats of re-emerging and highly pathogenic poultry diseases. There have been successive breaks of different virulent bird flu strains in Europe and neighboring countries in Asia. And China just reported its highly pathogenic H5N1 strain. We need to be prepared. Our border control program has been reviewed so everyone in the industry will be vigilant and would know how to help. In fact, on Friday, Valentine's Day, our poultry industry experts will sacrifice being outside the Colombo from their wives to be with us and work with us for a day of planning and expert advice. Today, at this plenary, let us look at the realities of our own supply chain as a consequence for all this. How can we strengthen the strategies and the plans? How can we help fill in the gaps? How can we provide value? How can we help? These are the numbers that we need to fill in. And for our farmers that we celebrate today, again, maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga taga-Pangasinan, taga-Batangas, at Bulacan na nandito. We celebrate you today. This is for you. But how do our management systems adjust to these new diseases and threats? When we say, bakit tinamaan yung farm ko? Ang galing-galing na ng biosecurity ko. Maayos ba talaga ang biosecurity ninyo? Maybe you were maybe your farm operation systems are part of the problem. I'm not saying kayo nadala ng sakit dito, pero kahapon sabi ni Dr. Wayne Johnson kung bakit kumakalat sa China ang ASF, sinasabi niya, trucks. Kasi matigas ang ulo ng mga farmers in China. Ayaw sumunod sa transition trucking. Ayaw magkaroon ng transition trucks from farm to slaughterhouses. Kaya kumakalat ang ASF from farm to farm in China. That it is the right time to review our production and biosecurity systems with this biosecurity audit so that we remain competitive and to continue to be relevant in the future. So these are the questions on our mind as we face the rest of 2020 and beyond. The schools tomorrow or Friday will discuss the technicalities of ASF control, recovery, and repopulation because we have no other choice but to hasten and promote recovery and repopulation. And as we execute our zoning plan down south, may we also revisit past challenges that have become learnings and find this plenary summit the opportunity to find common and shared grounds for solutions, for compromise, and movement forward. Maraming salamat po.
Mr. Rosendo So.
Magandang umaga sa lahat, of course, to our secretary and ang organizer, Danilo Sanchez, at mga kasama natin, no? Of course, si Chester, nandito si Edwin, si Pong, saka si Josie. Dito rin si Doc Ronnie and Asek. Good morning sa mga farmers na galing Pangasinan, Bulacan, and Batangas. Magandang umaga sa inyo lahat. Of course, alam natin naman itong nangyari na sakit is galing sa other country, pumasok dito sa ating bansa. So, ang very important na kailangan pa rin natin ngayon is yung bantayan yung pagpasok, no? Pagpasok ng mga imported na product dito sa ating bansa. Lalo na yung Bisaya. Kailangan natin protekta. Kaya ito is pag makita natin almost 416 billion industry ang ating industriya. Total industry ng ating baboy. Kasama na yung mga ingredients. Siyempre, yung hog industry, kumakain niya ng darak. So, yung mga rice farmers na last year, nagsabi yung presyo ng darak mas mataas pa sa presyo ng palay. Ngayon, kung nabawasan yung pagbili ng angkat ng darak, automatic yan, babagsak yung presyo ng darak, no? Dahil yung demand mawawala. And yung sa corn naman, almost 60% ng ating corn industry binibili ng hog raiser. Kaya malaking tulong ito kung continuous na mahinto natin ang outbreak. And of course, yung copra industry and molasses. So, kung makikita natin, lahat yan apektado yung mga magsasaka natin. So kung titingnan natin yung mga kilos na pumasok dito sa ating bansa, malaki yung number of kilos na pumapasok, no? Coming from sa other countries. Pero tayo naman yung local production natin umabot pa rin ng 94% noong last year. Pero this year, siyempre, babagsak. So, nakikusap ko kay Secretary na yung first border policy na ina-approvean ito around 4 years ago. Up to now, hindi pa natin ini-implement na mauna yung quarantine. And dapat 100% ang checking natin, no, dun sa first border. Ito is importante dahil yung mga kargamento, hindi lang yung collection, no? Hindi lang yung collection ng pera ang kailangan natin, dapat protectionan natin ang mga local industry natin. And ito is nasa batas naman yan, yung food safety law, na RA 10611 na kailangan proteksyonan ang ating mga food security dito sa ating bansa. And sa magandang pagkiusap ni Secretary kay Presidente, at least nakakuha siya ng I think 2 billion itong 2 billion pesos para at least maayos almost 5 port, no, na maayos. We hope na ito is maumpisahan. Siguro mamaya i-brief tayo ni Secretary kung kailan ito pakaumpisa, no? And maka-start yung ating yung first order na sinasabi natin. Bakit importante ito? Kasi kagaya niyan yung nangyari sa Davao. Bakit nakapasok? Dahil may mga barko na illegally na pumasok and ngayon na-contaminate na yung Davao. So ang problema natin ngayon is yung next is yung Cebu. We hope na hindi rin maging Bisaya para at least may matitira pa sa atin, no? Kasi ito hindi lang ASF ang problema natin. Ngayon yung mga ibang country like Poland, I think Germany, no? And China may bird flu naman. So yung mga produkto na ito kung pumasok dito, lalo tayong problema. Just for the information of everybody, yung mga igari sa Region 3 malaking nawala na, no? Almost sa estimate namin mga 80% ang nawala and na-convert yung mga iba papuntang poultry. Kung titingnan natin yung yung poultry natin pag titingnan natin medyo bumaba yung presyo dahil marami na nag-convert, no, dun sa poultry industry. And so kailangan natin protektahan talaga ang ating mga borders para at least maski paano yung mga ibang sakit hindi makapasok dito sa ating bansa. We hope na maayos-ayos lahat and so that protektahan pa rin ang ating mga local farmers. Sa mga local farmers natin, ang advice namin sa ngayon, no, huwag muna kayong mag-expand sa piggery. Dahil, for example, yung mga farm, kagaya sa amin, dati may 1,000 sow level kami. Ngayon, nasa 300 sow na lang level. Binaba talaga namin, no? Kasi sa ngayon wala pang gamot na pwedeng maayos. Conversion, pupunta kami sa poultry, siyempre. Kundi, walang, yung food security natin kailangan i-kompleto natin And of course, yung mga iba siguro pwede rin mag-rabbit. Nag-umpisa ako ng mag-rabbit, no? Hindi pa masyadong popular ang rabbit ito. Pero yung alaga ng rabbit, mga 60 days, kaya almost 1.8 kilos din. And ang pagkain is feeds and damo. So, siguro ito yung isang tignan natin, pag-aralan natin, aside from pet yung rabbit, pwede rin naman kainin, no? Yung New Zealand rabbit na sinubukan namin magpasok, and yung Californian, yung meat, no? Na pwede rin siguro introduce sa mga barangay. So, we hope yung mga barangay kasi ang problema namin ngayon dun sa mga borders ng ating dumadating. Dati kasi yung mga dumadating na meat sa mga province, no? Naka-end. Ngayon sa close ban. And dinadala sa mga barangay. So yung control talaga ng ASF, hirap. Maski nakita natin yung trabaho ng Bureau of Animal Industry, no, na nakabantay Pero ang gamit na nila yung L300 pagpasok. Tapos nakita namin na sa barangay na. So hirap talaga. And ngayon, kino-coordinate namin yung barangay. May bentahan na yung mga meat dun sa barangay. Kung kaano ka hirap mag-control sa market, ngayon mas mahirap. Kaya ang advice namin sa mga raiser ng baboy, sa ngayon, mga backyard, huwag muna kayong mag-alaga kasi sa tingin namin mahirapan talaga makontrol ito habang walang gamot. So mag-convert na lang sa other animal like chicken and other. So alam naman natin ang mga Filipino entrepreneur magagaling at pwedeng mabilis mag-convert ng other industry. Animal industry. So, yun lang. Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rosendo, for a wonderful presentation. Please welcome BBDA Past President Dr. Cora Occidental.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to International Farmers Summit, Plenary Summit. It is my honor to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. William Dar. Dr. William Dar is a champion of the poor, especially the small farmers and fisher folks. Earlier, in 1988, he was awarded the 10 Outstanding Young Men of the Philippines. In 2016, Dr. Dar was awarded the Outstanding Filipino or Top Phil Award in cognizance of his 7th leadership, which was instrumental in transforming the International Crops Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropics or ICRISA, from the struggling institute to one of the top performing centers of the consultative group on international agricultural research. In his 15 years of outstanding achievements as Director General of ICRISA, he championed and institutionalized an overarching strategy called Inclusive Market-Oriented Development or IMOD, in which the farmers become active participants for their own welfare. The same strategy is now being advocated by him in pursuit of inclusive agribusiness in the Philippines. Prior to his international stint, he taught with distinction at Benguet State University with the rank of Professor 6 and served as its Vice President for Research and Development in 1985 to 1987. He was the founding director of the Department of Agriculture, Bureau of Agricultural Research or BAR in 1987 to 1994. Served as Executive Director of the Department of Science and Technology, Philippine Council for Agriculture, Forestry, Natural Resources Research and Development or yung PICARD in 1994 to 1998, Secretary of the Department of Agriculture under the President Joseph Estrada, 1998-1999. Under his watch at the DA, the Philippine agriculture achieved a remarkable 9.6 growth, which has never been equal until today. In 2014, In 2014, he founded the Inanlupa Movement Inc. that advocates and calls action for agricultural modernization and rural industrialization anchored on 4 pillars, namely inclusiveness, science-based, resilient, and market-oriented development. He now writes a regular weekly column called Ways of the Oasis in the Manila Times. From his weekly columns, he published the book entitled The Way Forward, Modernization and Industrialization of the Philippine Agriculture. He also advises Go Negosyo in the areas of agriculture and agripreneurship. And earlier nga, yung sabi ni Mr. Gidi Manigad, advisor din niya. Presently, he is the country representative of Prasad Seeds Philippines Inc. Dr. Dar, or Secretary Dar obtained his Bachelor of Science in Agricultural Education from the Mountain State Agricultural College and SAC, ngayon ay BSU. In 1973, Master of Science in Agronomy, and 1976, Doctor of Philosophy and Horticulture from the University of the Philippines at the UPLB in 1980. Cognizant of his leadership and laurels, he was awarded 8 doctorate degrees, honoris causa, by various higher educational institutions in the country. Mga kaibigan, colleagues, co-farmers, let us all welcome our Secretary of Agriculture, Dr. William B. Dar.
Masyadong mahaba po yung introduction sa akin ni Cora. Please be seated. Palakpakan natin si Cora po. Let me congratulate the organizers of this PBDA International Farmer Summit. And I understand this is now the 8th summit, and the summit is being done every other year. Can we give a big round of applause to Dr. Danilo Sanchez and the other organizers of this very important summit featuring the livestock and poultry industry. The other leaders of the hog industry are here. Sila Rosendo So, si Chester Tan, si Edwin Chen, si Dr. Mende, and the rest. Can we give them a big round of applause? Palagi po sila kasama dun sa pagplano po kung paano natin makontrol, makontain itong African swine fever. Ganon din ang poultry sector, Attorney Bong Ensyong, Judy San Diego. Palakpakan po natin ang mga leaders ng poultry industry. At saka mga veterinaryo na miyembro ng PBDA. Can you please stand because we need you more than ever. All the veterinarians in the country, both public and private. Aba, pupunti po kayo ngayon. Okay. Ang mga farmers, hog raisers, na galing sa Pangasinan, Bulacan, at iba't ibang probinsya, please all rise. Ipakita tayo at bibigyan po kayo ng masigabong palakpakan. Salamat po. All the participants to this important International Farmer Summit, friends, ladies, and gentlemen, magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Good morning! Good morning! Kumusta po kayo? Now, sana ang Diyos po ay nandito po palagi sa atin. I was asking myself, bakit po Diyos, nung pag-umpisa ko, nung Agosto 5, ay parang ang daming bumagsak dito sa mundo na problema ng sektor ng agrikultura. Sana tulungan na po ninyo ang itong bansang minamahal namin para maka-move forward na rin kami. At talagang i-focus po natin ang pagyaman na ng mga farmers at fishers. Yun po ang gusto natin na mangyari. Pero hindi tayo susuko sa mga problema na dumating na dapat natin bigyan ng focus and attention para sa ganun ay they will not impact into the very productivity levels that we have to have para ma-ensure naman ang food security sa ating bansa. Now, nakikinig ako intently doon sa projections, the scenarios built up by Dr. Mende and group. You know, those are based on science and or models of science in terms of, scenario building. And this early, I would like to commend the group from the hog industry again, and from our side, the government, I'd like also to recognize the big efforts of the 3 men who are here with us, who are leading in the, management of the livestock and poultry industry, and who are deeply engaged in working with all of you in this management of these events like the African swine fever. Let me start by introducing the new Assistant Secretary for Livestock, Dr. William Medrano. Ito ay true and true professional livestock expert. So, hindi pseudo professional ito. Doktor siya, PhD siya sa livestock, naging commissioner siya sa Commission on Higher Education at professor siya sa Isabela State University. So, very solid professional who understands the very problems besetting the livestock industry, the poultry industry. Now, true and true, the man who has been there before and now, siya yung dating nandyan na for how many years with the Bureau of Animal Industry, helping to appreciate the epidemiology of this virus at continuously helping us understand and manage. Can I present to you Dr. Ronnie Domingo, who is the Director of the Bureau of Animal Industry. So, before and now, yun ang aking introduction sa kanya. So, there is continuity. The facts are there. We continuously to learn lessons from other countries. And he is the chief veterinarian at vis-a-vis OIE. So the reporting that we do continuously with OIE is through Dr. Ronnie Domingo. Now, we have a new person helping the National Meat Inspection Service. Ang latest account in terms of his appointment as the new Executive Director ay nasa table na raw ng ating mahal na Pangulo. At he is, has been there with the livestock industry. He has been connected with the project with the Food and Agriculture Organization. And, when that opportunity arose that because the NMIS Executive Director was promoted as Undersecretary, I nominated Dr. Raelrin Morales. So he can do the battle with his weight. So, the data have been presented by Dr. Mende in regard to this major issue on African swine fever. So, where are we today? Just to, again, mention that the Department of Agriculture, upon my assumption, that week of August 5, I had the opportunity to meet with the National Hog Raisers Association, including that of the poultry industry leaders, and invited them from them to be a part of the task force on ASF. So, hindi natin masabi na hindi involved ang industry leaders dito sa pagplano at pag-mitigate ng African swine fever. If there is one administration that is, open and will continue to open that mechanism of partnership, because you are the leaders. And government is just there to catalyze the various industries, seeing to it that the policy environment will be supportive to the development and growth of the sector. So, that participatory engagement and the consultation process that we continue to enhance will always be there. Para every step of the way, we have to put in place the best of quarantine measures, biosecurity measures that would really now contain and control such virus. So today, we are now we have now depopulated almost 1.7% of total hog inventory, 12.7 million hog inventory that we have in the country. And with the projections here as high as 62%, this is so scary. So with that, scenario that have been built up from this low now of 1.7 to other scenarios, 10, 20, 30, it's such a very scary development because it has impact into the 416 billion hog industry and the supporting industry, and in general, it will have devastating consequences in regard to the prices of meat and or other commodities that will be the very source of our protein requirements. So the message this early is really to continue to be united as one team to really every step of the way again harness the lessons of those countries that have had this issue of infection of African swine fever, because it is in learning from such experiences we can elevate, step up the biosecurity measures that we have today. Now, one thing to highlight before this audience is that the President has now issued Department of Administrative Order number 12, issued last February 5, directing all the local chief executives, all the local government units all over the country to be guided and follow the Department of Agriculture issued Administrative Circular number 12, highlighting the national zoning and movement plan on African swine fever management. So that's such a very formidable directive, and because it's not only in the management, containment, and control of the African swine fever that has to be properly handled, but even the trade of hogs or pork products that have to be also be part of this movement plan that have been fully supported by our President. So last Monday, you must have learned that all the chief executives were brought to this building, SMX, to really not only appreciate this very problem that we have in the agriculture sector, but more importantly also against the end coronavirus that's plaguing a good number of countries in the world, including that now starting here in the Philippines. So it's such a complex environment that we are in today, but the President said we can handle all these big problems confronting us today. That's such a very strong message that our President is giving to all of us. We now need to harness the brains, the ideas that you have from the veterinary sector, because have we not yet included those things that are necessary in terms of these step-up biosecurity measures in the management, containment, and control of the African swine fever. So yesterday, as a result of this press order of the President, the leadership of the department, we brought all the regional executive directors of DA to a leveling up so that there is a good appreciation of this National Zoning and Movement Plan. So Undersecretary Ariel Cayana, with the help of the officers of PAE led by Ronnie and Real Green with Asek Medrano, met with the regional executive directors in Clark purposely for a leveling of a good appreciation and internalization of the National Zoning and Movement Plan. Of course, yung map that the color-coded map, which is a key principle in the zoning plan, will be adjusted accordingly as infection occurs or outbreaks occur. So it's not static now. So that must be understood by all of us, because we issued last quarter this zoning plan. So Reldrin and Ronnie will have to adjust accordingly based on now the outbreaks reported coming from our regional field offices. And as I've said, the guidelines or principles and guidelines or the biosecurity measures that are indicated in such a zoning plan and the movement plan are very valid, except that the map has to be updated accordingly every now and then based on the outbreaks. Okay, so that must be clear. Kasi kanina umaga, mayroon ng isang reporter nagtatanong, bakit sir yung sa zoning plan ay hindi pa nabago yung map? Kasi green pa rin ang Mindanao. Of course, I said I have already presented the updated map last Monday, and the task force on CM, the Crisis Management Task Force against ASF will be there to regularly update such a map. Now, I would like to support further the scenario setting that is now started and that will continue to be enhanced. And I am instructing our men here. Actually, about 10 days ago, where we were in the field, even in the office, that we agreed now to work with you in terms of appreciating the potential impacts of such a big problem like ASF so that we can prepare this early the recovery and rehabilitation plan or alternative plans that we can have so that the meat or the pork or pork products arising from the hog industry will be substituted or complemented from other sources like that of poultry, like that of rabbit and other, short gestating or short, like poultry in 1 month, you have now the product out there using the tunnel vent technology. In rabbit, the same, about two months. I was visited by the group, the rabbit organization of Bulacan, and I said we will continue to support you because we understand how critical they can be also as part of the contingency plan that we have to now have vis-a-vis the potential shortage of pork that will be there. So from time to time, we need to update these foresight studies that we are doing and inform the public early enough para hindi naman mabigla. We will not hide anything. But good thing, Dr. Mende, you should also tell our policymakers from time to time this scenario analysis that you are now doing, of course, in partnership with us, para makita nila yung severity of this incursion of African swine fever in our country. Okay? So, we will not rest. We will continue to enhance our proactive measures. Of course, always working with the private sector. Now, na-mention na ni Rosendo, yung approval ng 2 billion budget for the first border facilities. Dito mauna dito sa Manila International Container Port, and Dr. Ronnie Domingo is on top in of course with the participation of the other subsectors like fishery, plant industry, of course the meat products, para yung first border facility will be an agriculture quarantine facility in these important seaports. Another development, we will also rehabilitate Nabotas Fish Port, and Nabotas Fish Port, once properly modernized, will not only handle, fish, but eventually, because we can now better do, say, proper inspection in a modern setting with all the facilities there, it will now be the entry point for all important items. And hoping by doing that, we will curb significantly smuggling as is happening today. So, what are the key things we need to really guard against? Smuggling is number one. Out of the many intercepted items, these are misdeclared items. It came out that there are pork dumplings coming from ASF infected countries. So talagang yun ang major source of the virus. On top of that, yung mga travelers coming from those countries, ASF affected countries, bring food and the pond waste are converted into swill feeds, and this is continuing the issue again of spreading the virus. That's the case for Mindanao. Swill feeding because of bringing pork or pork products. So the food waste are now used by the backyard hog raisers. So we were hoping to really guard Visayas and Mindanao, including that of Mimarupa. But this issue of ASF has now become a people issue. What do I mean by people issue? Hog traders that are infected, whose pigs are infected, are hiding their pigs. And this is being taken advantage by hog traders themselves, buying it half the price, and not following the protocol of slaughtering these infected animals in the slaughterhouses. So they slaughter it in their respective homes and selling this pork and pork products in other areas. And that's how it Pangasinan incursion happened. That's how Benguet incursion happened. That's how Isabela incursion happened, because of the trading of the infected animals in these areas. So, hindi na yung virus ang problema, pinaka-problema. Ang pinaka-problema na ngayon ay yung nagtitinda ng baboy or karne ng baboy. So, we are calling upon, again, all the local chief executives. They know who are the traders in the respective areas. They know where they are buying these pigs. So, it is enhancing our monitoring and surveillance and checking on the trading activities of these hog traders that will substantially and significantly reduce the spread of such a virus. So yun po ang panawagan natin, taking this platform. I am now calling again the local chief executives to do their share, as they are the lead responsible in implementing the biosecurity measures properly implemented by the hog traders, be it the backyard hog raisers and the commercial hog raisers. And I commend the full participation of the commercial hog raisers in really helping the government put up all elevated biosecurity measures. And it's such a good corporate social responsibility for commercial hog raisers to help those backyard hog raisers around your facilities. Because if you don't help them improve their biosecurity measures, it will easily be affecting you in many ways. So this is one request giving the commercial hog raisers to also do much more, helping the backyard hog raisers around your facilities so that the disease will be managed properly, that they be controlled right then and there. Now, do you still have some more time, or are you now time listening? Are you still ready for another 5 minutes? Okay. Kala ko natutulog na kayo. Okay, when I say Ani, please say Kita. Ani! Kita! Kita! Ani! Kita! Ani! Aba, hindi ko narinig. Let's repeat. Ani! Kita! Kita! Ani! Ani kita. Okay. So, your Department of Agriculture will always be here partnering with all of you in this effort of really controlling the African swine fever virus. Now, I would like to maybe give this to the task force, both DA and private sector. There was, in a meeting with the commercial leaders, sabi nila, yung 1710 protocol, can we review whether it is, within 1 kilometer, we need to depopulate everything. The data would indicate that only 13% are the sick pigs. The rest, say 87%, are healthy pigs. Now, this is thrown to the veterinarians. Yun ba, 1 kilometer radius? Wala bang experience ng ibang bansa na pwede nila kinonstrict, say, into a half-kilometer quarantine protocol so that only those within the half-kilometer protocol will be depopulated. So pag-aralan po na ninyo para hindi tayo masyadong tamaan in terms of now the pork supply that we potentially will have as a problem. So I am giving that responsibility to the joint crisis management team, public and private sector, to study this possibility of reducing the 1 kilometer to a half-kilometer protocol so that we will, be in sync with the sustaining of the pork supply needed by the populace. Now, the other thing I'd like to mention before all of you, the veterinarians for one here, and your chapters in all over the country. This is the time to be part of, the movement to eradicate African swine fever. We will, welcome your participation in your respective areas, districts, municipalities, provinces. If you can help join forces with the government, with the local government units in, enhancing monitoring and surveillance, that activity is key, even in inventorying the pig population in the various municipalities, plus informing, properly educating much more the backyard hog raisers on what to do, because that's one thing sure, if they are properly informed, that they will be a part of the solution. So volunteers, I would now challenge the veterinarians, the private sector veterinarians to come forward, be a part of that team to help local government units do the monitoring and surveillance and informing, educating the backyard hog raisers. Lastly, I would like this body today, if you can form a more proactive movement on the control of African swine fever. Let's do it. It's a whole nation movement, and this is led by you who are in business, who have also the knowledge, the veterinarians. So I am calling upon you to lead, put up a movement on the control of African swine fever. Marami pong salamat.